Good afternoon, Wealth Our Way Nation. What is going on? It is your man, Charles Tank Harris, the founder and chief visionary officer of the financial literacy platform, Wealth Our Way. Welcome to episode 20, which is you are exactly where you believe you should be financially. Want to apologize for the slightly late start. I thought I got hacked over the weekend with Facebook and I changed my password. Not thinking when I went to go stream live to Facebook today, it told me it didn't have access to my account. I apologize. I had to reset the password. So here we are 2 minutes later, but this is what happens when you go live every day. I want to thank each and every one of you who are live with me now as we stream over our Facebook and YouTube Wealth Our Way pages. Also, a special salute and shout out to Wealth Our Way Nation who watches the program pre-recorded overnight, over the weekends, or wherever you can squeeze 15 minutes of financial literacy in, and a heartfelt welcome to the good people on the Life 101 platform who are listening to the audio of this program. I hope everybody had a great weekend. I know I did. Definitely had a lovely ride up to upstate New York to wine country. Enjoyed that. Just a great weekend, even despite the weather being intermittent rain and things of that nature. You know, when you come to 15 minutes of finance, our core conversation is always going to center around how we can increase our net worth, how we can improve upon our financial literacy, how we can steer our financial ship along the proper path of our wealth journey. One of the things I tell you guys over and over again is that I am consistently priming the pump of Charles Tank Harris. I'm currently doing insurance renewals for life and health because even though I no longer sell life insurance, I want to make sure that I'm always up to date on continuing education for when I come out and talk to you guys. So I'm listening to podcasts, I'm listening to books. I heard two interesting stories this weekend on psychology of how we think. And immediately, of course, because I'm always thinking of a financial mindset, I immediately saw where the parallels in these stories that I was hearing translate into where we put self-limiting beliefs on ourselves financially. I know you guys heard me say the other day that you will never outperform or outgrow where you believe you should be. That is a very serious mindset hurdle that we all have. We have to see ourselves as grandiose as we can, because if we do not, we put a self-imposed ceiling on where we can be. Health-wise, love-wise, business-wise, money-wise, doesn't matter. Where we see ourselves able to achieve is as far as we will be able to go. It's interesting. I used to, and it's always, I always enjoy when I personally can get a different perspective on something and can change long-held beliefs. I used to have a real serious problem, and I'm a parent, but I used to have a serious problem with, as a child, hearing parents, my parents or other parents of other children, tell their kids they could do anything and this, that, and that. I thought that it bred a sense of entitlement in kids. I thought it bred a false sense of reality. The truth of the matter is everybody's not going to go on to be exceptional in, world-changing ways. But as I have grown and listened to various viewpoints, I've changed my mind on that. And that comes back to what we're talking about today. If you do not tell a child that they can do anything in the world that's possible, if you do not tell a child that they are special, if you do not tell a child that there is nothing outside of their reach, then you're limiting what they will shoot for. And as the saying goes, you shoot for the stars and you'll shoot for the moon and fall amongst the stars. So that mindset of telling someone that anything and everything is possible, even if they never achieve it, will allow them to shoot for that certain target. So what does all that have to do with finances, financial thinking? It has a lot to do with financial thinking. I went to my old neighborhood this weekend. My mom still lives in my old neighborhood, will not move. I told you guys before, she lives in one of my rental properties. I was able to, buy a property, let her live there. It makes me feel very good to provide my mom with somewhere to live. And she's in an environment that she does not want to venture out of. And she feels so strongly about the neighborhood, always tells me it's improving. I'm scared to leave my car there, but that my mom and my daughter live within 6 minutes of each other in Philadelphia, and Philly is, it's rough to navigate Philly, and everybody knows I bleed Temple red. I love Philly, but it's rough in those streets sometimes. With that being said, I had to go pick up my car because I left it there when I went to get my motorcycle. And I was speaking with her briefly just about catching up on the car and other things. And in talking with her, I realized I'm looking at an environment where people haven't seen enough of the outside world to know that there's more than what is around them. In fact, when I was walking back to my car, true story, I had to cross the street to get from my mom's side of the house. My car was parked on the other side. And this guy is driving with his child in the car. He was eating something. As soon as he was finished eating, he threw it out the car window. And the trash just fell on the street and he kept driving. And I just kept thinking to myself, when I lived in Roswell, Georgia, in my $800,000 house, if someone saw a piece of trash on the ground, whether they put it there or not, they would get out of their car and pick it up because they had such pride in the value of the neighborhood that they lived in. And here I am in a section of Philadelphia where people just randomly throw trash on the street. You watch kids walking down the street eating a candy bar, and when they're done with the candy bar, just drop the wrapper. And when I am out in different circles and you hear people talking about urban environments and inner city mindsets, I get offended because they speak of the people as if, and I am those people, I was raised in this environment. They speak of these people as if we desire to have trash around us. When the reality is the environment in which we were raised showed us trash all the time, and we believe it's normal. And when you normalize something, you don't even see the wrong in it. You're just doing what's normal. And that brings me to these two stories I want to share with you today that I think will help you understand what I mean when I say you are exactly where you believe you should be financially. There's a story of a tiger, and I think his name was Mehmet. The tiger was taken out of the natural settings that he should be in and captured and in a zoo for about 5 to 10 years. And while he was in the zoo, he was in a cage that was 10 by 10. And people came and they saw him and he was captive. Well, there were some animal rights people who were very, very against him being caged. Now, there are tigers in zoos all over the world. Why they focused on this one tiger, I didn't get that part of the story. But they had lobbied this zoo for the better part of 5 to 10 years to free this tiger. Not lion, excuse me. Free this tiger. They free the tiger. They take it. They release it back to the wild on this huge preserve. And what they noticed was that the tiger, although they had hundreds of acres that they could have roamed, found a 10 by 10 stretch and patch of the preserve and sequestered itself to that patch, literally wore a rectangle, a square, a 10 by 10 square in this spot and would not leave it because mentally it had become conditioned as to that is where it stays. That was one of the stories I heard, which I thought was very similar to people not being able to expand outside of what they've been told they are supposed to be, or more importantly, shown they're supposed to be. The second story was even deeper than that. This is one that I really think you guys should focus on and see what this means to you in your life. There was a scientific experiment. They had 5 monkeys in a room with a ladder, and at the top of the ladder, there's a bushel of bananas. Monkeys, of course, love bananas. So one at a time, they're trying to get up the ladder and get the bananas. Every time one of the monkeys tried to climb the ladder to get to the bananas, the scientists would douse them with cold water, darn near freezing cold water. And the monkeys kept trying to get the bananas, and they realized the punishment was too great to pay to get the bananas. The cold water was very, very frigid. It was a powerful blast of cold water. Every time they tried to go up the ladder, they got hit with the cold water. Monkeys are smart. They put 2 and 2 together. They said, damn these bananas, and they stopped trying to go up the ladder. Once the scientists realized that they had conditioned all of the monkeys to understand that going up the ladder would get you doused in cold water, they systematically removed one monkey from the 5, and they put in a new monkey into the group. That new monkey would see the bananas and would try to go up and get the bananas. The other monkeys being friendly and trying to help this monkey from getting damaged would pull the monkey off the ladder before he got sprayed with water. They would not allow him up. And eventually that monkey would say, well, damn, apparently it's not for me to go up and try to get these bananas. Once the scientists realized that they had successfully trained this new monkey to not go up the ladder, they would remove another monkey that had been sprayed with water. They repeated that process until all 5 monkeys in the room would not go up the ladder, but none of them had ever been sprayed by water. They didn't know why they weren't supposed to go up the ladder. They just had known from their peer group not to go up the ladder. If you think about that in any community, but especially in the African-American community, do you know how many times I have heard people tell me that their mom, their grandmom, their great-grandmom told them, don't try to be too big in this world. Don't go outside your britches. Don't try to do this because you'll get shot down. And going back to what I said earlier about bigging your children up, the exact opposite is true as well. If you hear from enough people that you're not supposed to succeed, that you're not supposed to grow, that you're not supposed to achieve these grandiose dreams that you read about, hear about, or see on TV, you'll stay in your place. And when I heard the story about the monkeys and them sitting around saying, hey, there's a whole bunch of bananas up there and here's a ladder, we can get to them, but none of them doing it. But more importantly, none of them knowing why they shouldn't. None of them have experienced the actual pain of the cold water. They've just either heard rumors of it or have just followed suit with what their peer group does. Where are you doing that in your own life? Where are you doing that as it pertains to your own finances? Because I completely know for myself, I am exactly where I think I should be financially. I look at the peer group that I grew up with, and I never associated with them. I was like, man, these dudes is tripping, sitting out in the corner, drinking 40s and smoking blunts. That's not me. I'm better than that. And so guess what? I make more money than all of those guys. But when I get into rooms with millionaires and multimillionaires and people on their way to becoming billionaires, I look at them and I be like, ooh, they went to Harvard, or their dad had a hedge fund, or they were experienced in this, or they grew up in Europe. And I start to belittle my abilities. And I think I'm the man. So if it can happen to me, a lesser confident person, it can definitely happen too. And that's when I realized, you know what? You're exactly where you should be financially, or where you believe you should be. You don't go any further than what's comfortable for you. Once you get to a point where you're challenged, once you get to a point where you're uncomfortable, unfamiliar, you retreat to your levels of comfort. If you continue to do that, I remember sitting in a meeting with some gentlemen from the insurance firm Mass Mutual. I was at New York Life at the time, and they were trying to recruit me away. And of course, as happens a lot when I'm in these different firms, I'm the only Black person there. And I'm in this room and they are salivating. I got the heads of Mass Mutual from the regional and national level in here trying to recruit me away. And, I'm there, no tie on. I did bother to wear a button-up shirt that day. I didn't go in my temple shirt. But everybody here is suited and booted, the highest brass of Mass Mutual. And they basically said to me, they said, Tank, because, they don't call me Charles. Everybody knows you got to call me Tank to get my attention. Tank, here's the deal. There is nobody that we've ever met who could do better what you do. But you do just enough to make yourself happy. And until you decide that you're going to allow yourself to be uncomfortable and grow to as big as you can be in this business, you're never going to have the level of success that you can have. I remember walking out that office thinking to myself, this guy is right. Now I'm not going to do it there. I'm going to go start my own thing, because this was right around the time I was entertaining leaving New York Life to start Wealth Our Way. I said, I'm going to do my own thing, and I'm going to help my community, and I'm going to help people who want this information, whether they look like me, whether they're a man or a woman, white, Black, tall, short, old, young. I don't care. If you want to come listen to me, pull up a stool and I'm going to help. And I realized I have to challenge myself. I have to be uncomfortable. Where do you need to challenge yourself? Where do you need to get uncomfortable? Who do you believe yourself to be in this world financially? You have to break these beliefs and these limitations that have held you back and grow in order to go. So that's what I wanted to share with you this Monday. This week, we're going to get into it. I'm going to revisit the contest tomorrow and share some real knowledge with you. I apologize for the technical difficulty starting off. Remember, here at Wealth Our Way, what our motto is: wealth is not only for the wealthy. See you tomorrow.